إن الحمد لله ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الحديث هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة. Assalamu alaikum everyone. So today I was asked to give a khutbah on short notice. So inshallah I'll keep it brief and I apologize for any maybe lack of coherence. But inshallah today we will be going over a concept that I hope everyone is familiar with, a surah that I'm sure everyone is familiar with. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين. So the ayah that I just recited is obviously from Surah Al-Fatiha. And Al-Fatiha is the opening of the Quran, as we all know. And Al-Fatiha is not only the opening of the Quran, but it's also the opening of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So basically, Al-Fatiha begins with Al-Hamd. And what is Al-Hamd? Al-Hamd has two components. The first component of Al-Hamd, or one of the components of Al-Hamd, is praise. And the second component is thanks. So basically, where is this coming from? Surah Fatiha is starting with all praise and thanks are due to Allah. So what does this mean? So let's look at when you praise someone versus when you thank them. So basically, let's say I was walking, in the parking lot on the way here, and let's say that I saw a very nice car. Let's say I saw a Porsche, right? So would I be like, oh, thank you for being such a nice car? No, that would be really weird. What I would actually do is I would say, wow, that's a nice car. I would praise the car. Because when you praise something, you're praising it for a quality that it has, not for something that it's necessarily done for you. So that's praise. Praise is for praising something for the quality that it has. Another thing is thanks, right? So for instance, I imagine many of you are probably parents or at least have younger siblings or someone that will do something for you. So let's say you ask your sibling to do you a favor, you ask your child to get you a cup of water. And let's say that child gets you that cup of water. You will most likely thank them, but you won't praise them because getting you a cup of water is not really that impressive, right? If, they went to the sink, they turned it on, they got you a cup of water and they brought it to you. You said thank you because of a favor they did for you, not because of something impressive that they did. Now, when we look at the universe in general, when we look at the universe and we see everything around us, even something as simple as a glass of water, that actually, if we really think about it and if we understand, for that glass of water, for that water to even exist, there had to be like laws of physics, there had to be the water cycle that continues to purify the water. There had to be so much in place, the fine-tuning argument, for instance, that talks about the constants in the universe. If they were slightly different, we wouldn't have life as we know it existing as it does. So the thing is, basically, even something as simple as a glass of water, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it to us, when the creator of the heavens and the earth gives this to us, then it's not only worthy of thanks, it's worthy of both praise and thanks. So this is basically the starting of our relationship with Allah. The starting of our relationship with Allah, according to the Quran, should be one of praise and thanks. And basically, praise and thanks, what does it actually ultimately lead to? It leads to love. So basically, the beginning of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it should start with this praise and thanks. Praise and thanks of who? Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise and thanks are due to Rabb, the Rabb. What is Rabb? Basically, the word Rabb, according to some linguists, is very close to the word Ab in the Arabic language. Ab means father. And basically, the relationship that you can conceptualize to understand what Rabb means is a relationship that you have with both your parents, your mother and your father. Basically, Rabb means someone, in this context, it means someone who creates you. He takes care of you, he loves you, looks after you, protects you, knows your best interests, and looks after them. Basically, he's the one that nurtures you. So already, we're talking about Al-Fatiha. We're starting with praise and thanks, and we're attributing that praise and thanks to the one who created us, who's looked after our needs. If you think about it, right? For instance, when a child is being born, they need certain things. But then as they grow older, they need different things. Allah's basically given us, like for instance, when we came into this world, we needed to communicate with each other. We needed parents. We needed all these things. We had so many of our needs met, right? So Rabb is including this. So basically, the beginning of our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is starting with this praise and thanks for someone who took care of us when we were helpless ourselves, right? And this is a lot like what our parents hopefully did for us. So Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, the Lord, you could say, the Lord, the Rabb. Rabb is basically a more complete word than Lord. The Lord is the one translation that we can use. So basically, all praise and thanks are due to the Lord of Al-Alameen. What is Al-Alameen? This is often translated as the universe or the worlds. In Arabic, when something ends, generally when something ends with this ending ina, una, or basically these endings, they signify something that has an intellect. Like for instance, if we're talking about human beings, we use this ina ending, right? So oftentimes, some translations, they'll say that all praise and thanks are due to the Lord of the worlds of the jinn, angels, and human beings. And this is one translation that the scholars have given. Another translation the scholars have given is that Alameen, what it's actually referring to is when you read the Quran, you see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the world itself sentient at some point, and it will bear witness and it will give testimony. So basically, the Lord of the Alameen here isn't just like you could say, it's not just the sentient part of the world as we see today. It's actually talking about the entire universe. And Alameen here, what it actually means is signs. So the Lord of the signs. Basically what it's saying, what this translation is saying is that the entire universe the universe in its entirety is a sign that's pointing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And basically we are praising and thanking the one who the universe itself points to. Basically, the one who's basically created this universe, and this universe is bearing witness to his existence. And this is really a very much in line with Islamic theology, in which we learn that basically what Islamic theology argues is that no one is born without actually knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's part of our innate human nature to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to try to get close to him. So Surah Fatiha in another way is actually is a statement of fitrah. It is a statement of our human disposition to know Allah, that knows Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intuitively, instinctually. This is like one of the powerful things about Surah Al-Fatiha. We read it every single day, and it's basically, it really has like, a lot of lessons. And just to we're going to make this very brief, inshallah. So basically, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, that's what comes next. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim basically means the overwhelmingly merciful, the forever merciful. And basically, just to give you kind of an example, Rahman, what it means is like someone who's boiling over with mercy, his mercy is so intense that nothing can stop it. So for instance, in Arabic, we have the word Ladban. Ladban means someone it's on the same pattern as Rahman, so they have similar meanings. So Ladban basically means someone who's boiling over with anger, and nothing can stop their anger from being expressed, right? So Rahman is that except with mercy. You could think of it like that. That someone whose mercy can't be stopped. But basically, Rahman, it has a sense of temporariness in it. So then the next part of Allah's attribute, Rahim, comes in. Rahim means the one who's forever merciful. So the one who's merciful right now and the one who's merciful forever. This is what Rahman and Rahim means. So basically, this person who's thinking about the universe around him, he sees, him or her, he sees that basically the universe is full of, he's been blessed his whole life. This person has been blessed their whole life. And basically they didn't earn their eyes, their hands, their heartbeat. They didn't earn their parents, they didn't earn anything. And they're given all these mercies. So this person comes to this conclusion that the universe is pointing to this Rabb. This Rabb has certain qualities. First, he's Rahman and Rahim. Second, this person can continue to think and realize, okay, if the Lord of the universe is only merciful, what about those people who cause corruption on earth? What about those people who don't obey him and, say, for instance, hurt others? They don't recognize him. They do, when they're given a favor, they don't even care. What about those people? What about people who cause corruption? Then the second aspect becomes appreciable. The second aspect is Maliki Yawmiddin. Basically, this is owner of the day of judgment, or king of the day of judgment. Both the macro and micro are covered here by these two shades of Malik and Malik. So basically, the owner of the day of judgment, basically this says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yes, he's merciful, but he's also just. And this is something that's missing in the theology of some other religions. They consider Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to only be merciful, but they don't have a place for justice. And in order for a thinking person, you have to realize that in order for someone to be perfect, they have to have mercy and they also have to have justice. If there's no justice, then that being is not perfect. So then basically, once we come to this point, then we realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is merciful and he's just. And this being is completely perfect. And he's done so much for us. The only thing left that we have for this being is Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. We just submit ourselves to him. We bow down to him. We worship him. Because he's so perfect. And what does worship mean? Basically, we'll keep this brief, inshallah, we're almost out of time. But to basically give you an understanding of what worship is, it has four components in the Islamic tradition. The first component, to worship someone, you have to know them. The second thing is you have to love them. So to know someone, to love them. And the third component is you have to obey them. And then the last component is you have to dedicate any ritual act, any act of worship to them. So for instance, extreme gratitude, extreme love, complete gratitude and love, they can only be expressed to this being. So that's what worship is in the Islamic sense. And inshallah, we'll briefly finish this brief khutbah in the second part of the khutbah. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واتقوه يجعل لكم مخرجا رحيما. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So just to finish off this brief khutbah on Surah Al-Fatiha. So we've kind of gone over the thought process up to this point, is that you look at, you're born into this universe, and you look at the universe around you, and you're filled with this sense of gratitude and praise, and you direct that to the one who's the owner, the sun, the one who all the signs in the universe point to. Then after that, you realize certain things about this creator. One, he must be merciful. Two, he must be just. And basically this complete being, this completely merciful and just being is what we bow ourselves down to. We want to enter into a relationship with this creator. So we say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. But we might not know how to have this relationship. So this is where we ask for guidance. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, you alone worship. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. Guide us to the straight path. اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. صِرَاطَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ. The path of those whom you have favored. So basically, there must have been other people that came before us that thought these same things. So what did they do? We want to be part of their legacy as well. And the Quran is going to tell us, basically Surah Al-Fatiha is a table of contents of the entire message of the Quran. And part of it is praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part of it is getting to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, part of it is praying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we've also covered. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those who have favored. Part of the Quran is about those he has favored and their example for us. And then, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Not the path of those who have earned wrath. Basically, those people who they had guidance, but they didn't value it. They turned aside from it. They knew better, but they didn't basically want to follow that guidance yet. And not the path of those who got lost. Basically, they were trying to go one way, but they ended up not in the service of Allah. They ended up in other places. So inshallah, with that, that concludes Surah Al-Fatiha. And I want us to take away from this that Surah Al-Fatiha, it is a statement of the human fitrah, according to some scholars. Basically, if a person naturally reflects, this should be the opening of their relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is why, maybe that's the wisdom why this is the opening of the Quran. عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم واتقوه يجعل لكم مخرجا وأقيموا الصلاة.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة